I'm ready
Okay
whenever
then,
you
so
are.
I'm yeah. Okay, so I'm Catman from Catman's Rocks on Voodoo Radio Online, and I'm joined by the singer of a very talented up and coming band over in the USA, in Maryland, and I'm talking to the one and only Mr. Gavin Evik. How are we doing, Gavin?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing really well, really well. So tell us a bit about the Gavin Evik band, how you started, how you came to be a band, and tell us all about
Yeah.
the new single.
Yeah, I mean, we're just, a young rock and roll band trying to make it in the rock and roll industry. I mean, we started little less than 2 years ago. About, yeah, 2 years ago, I released my first song, called Favorite Songs. And then by the time of January, a few months after that, I put a band together, and we've kind of been evolving since then and kind of just been growing and really, opening up for a lot of big national acts. And we just last week we went over to Los Angeles and we played the Whiskey a Go Go. And we last week we also opened up for bands like Firehouse, Faster Pussycat, and Night Ranger. And we just kind of been growing, and we released our new single Young, Wild, and Free about a month ago, and it's getting a lot of traction. So that's an awesome
Yeah.
feeling.
Yeah, well, it's had its first UK playing right here on my show, Catman's Rocks. On it was Sunday, yesterday that it went out. So yes, it's been
Hmm.
received very well, and I'm really looking forward to hearing more stuff from you. So, what you got planned for the future?
Lots of more shows. We got a big show coming up. It's our first big headline show in August. It's like 2 weeks from now, August 9th in Leesburg, Virginia. And we were
Hmm.
just in the studio yesterday recording a new song. So we're trying to get more active and put out more songs at a faster rate, and we're continuing to make this a more prominent part of our lives.
Yeah, really looking forward to hearing your new stuff. By the way, so when you get it ready, send it
Hmm.
my way. You'll get guaranteed UK airplay from myself. No problem there.
Of course.
So, who are your influences then, Gavin?
I like a lot of the 80s rock guys, obviously. I think at my very beginning, it was very much Motley Crue, Skid Row, Bon Jovi, Poison, um,
Hmm.
and all of that stuff. And that's really what it was. But I think as of recently, I've been trying to branch out a little bit more and not just it's been a lot of the late 80s hard rock stuff. And
Yeah.
nowadays I've been listening to a little bit more of the 90s and 2000s stuff. The 80s stuff is still what I love the most. But
Yeah.
listening to like a little bit of Nickelback, maybe a little bit of Creed here and there.
Yeah.
Um, Here, hold on. Can you still see me?
I can still see
There
you,
we go.
yes,
So
and hear
yeah,
you. Fine.
sorry. Dave Tedder gave me a call.
We've had a few
Um,
gremlins tonight, haven't we?
yeah. um, yeah, and I've been listening to all branches, a little bit of country too. I don't know how big country is over there in the
Oh,
UK.
yeah, pretty big. Pretty big, yes.
Yeah,
I mean, Blackberry Smoke are massive over here. So,
yeah. So
yeah,
I've been
my
trying to
favourite
widen
band.
my horizons in in kind of my inspirations, but it all started with a lot of the 80s hard rock stuff, like your Def Leppards, your Skid Rows, and Poisons.
Funny you should mention Def Leppard. I'm here right here in Sheffield, the very hometown of Def Leppard. And,
Hmm.
back in the day, we used to go for drinks in town and you'd see them regular, such down to earth lads. But I was talking with Dave Tedder, who's introduced me to you guys the other night, and we were comparing you to the early Def Leppard. Cut my teeth in straight, the early Def Leppard stuff, and the
That's a
guitar
compliment.
riffs and everything. It's got that Steve Clark and Pete Willis sound about it, which is a
Yeah,
good
yeah.
thing.
I hope so. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's definitely compliments compared to Def Leppard.
So, if you could collaborate with any band or artist, either dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Oh, that's a hard question. Uh, I mean, I think the standard answer should be Eddie Van Halen. Eddie
Oh,
Van Halen, in my opinion, is one of the greatest guitar players of all time, and I think it'd be
oh,
um it would be a hell of a song to collaborate with him. I mean, other than that, I might list a few other artists. I don't know if I have one in particular. I love Zach Wild. He's my favorite guitar player. Um,
yeah.
definitely my inspiration as a vocalist is Sebastian Bach, but it's collaboration. You probably want to look at like instrument players. So I would probably say, I don't know, it's hard. I think Zach Wild and Eddie Van Halen are my favorite when it comes to guitar players, but I mean I could also say Chad Kroeger from Nickelback. I don't know how big of a
Hmm.
Nickelback fan you are, but he's
Oh yes, yeah,
I you know
totally.
I'll say this a million times about Nickelback. They're a very in your face 2000s band, but they love the 80s stuff. Like they love that Pantera hair metal stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
They're kind of they made music of their time, but you could jam all that 80s metal stuff with them. So I think like if I could collaborate with like Nickelback, that'd be freaking awesome too.
yeah, yeah. There seems to be a lot of bands turning to the 80s sounds these days. There's
Yeah.
I can name quite a few over here who are very talented bands, like Midnight City. I don't know if you're aware of those. Um,
Hmm.
just that's one of many bands.
Yeah.
So what do you do then when you're not with the band? What do you get up to?
I just kind of I'm trying to make the band more and more the focal center of my life. When we started, it was definitely a little bit more than a hobby, but my dad, he owns a couple businesses and I help out, a whole lot with that. I travel a whole lot for his
Mhm.
businesses, but slowly the band is becoming really my main job, and that's what anybody could really hope for. It's hard, I think you always want your band to be your main, focal point, but it's hard when
Mhm.
you got to do some other things like being in a band doesn't always pay the bills, but now it's starting to, and that's really what I've been
Yeah,
doing mainly now is the band.
yeah,
You know,
cool, cool. So, are there any plans to get out on the road and maybe get over to the UK sometime?
I mean, I would love to. I think everybody would love to. It does get really, really expensive though. So once we're worth enough for a venue to pay what we're worth um, in
Mm,
travel,
yeah,
then it
yeah,
seems more realistic. But I mean, like it would cost maybe $5,000-7,000
yep, yep,
to
yep, yep. Yeah,
accommodate
absolutely.
travel for all of us over there, and I don't know if we're worth $7,000 to a venue yet.
Well, no, no, I'll tell you what. Keep knocking songs out like young,
Wild and
wild and
free,
free. Uh,
yeah.
Believe you me, you will get noticed.
I hope so. It's starting to look
Yeah,
that way.
yeah. Well, I'm certainly hoping that this is an interview that we can look back on one day and I can put my hand up and say, was the first to interview them in the UK. So, but
That's
you keep
awesome.
putting music out like that first single. Believe you me, you will get there.
I appreciate it, man. That's the goal. That the song is all about having fun, and that's why I always go back to the '80s stuff. Is the '80s stuff more so than the rest of the other decades is all about having fun. So that's what I try to write the song
Absolutely.
about. Is about fun.
Yeah, yeah. If you're not having fun, then what's the point?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, what's your favourite foods?
My favorite food,
Favourite food?
mac and cheese.
Hey.
I mean, always. I mean, like I don't know. Is mac and cheese a thing over there in UK?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I
Yeah,
love the stuff.
you
In fact,
guys love like
where I am in
beans and
Yorkshire,
shit, right?
some people,
You guys,
some
you guys
people,
love like
sorry,
potatoes and beans, right? Isn't that your guys' thing over there? Or am I
potatoes, a
wrong?
jacket potato with beans on. Yeah, it is a thing. I mean, mac and cheese is a thing. And where I'm from, they have a thing called. Have you ever heard of a Yorkshire pudding?
No, I have not.
Really? Oh, I can explain a Yorkshire pudding. It's a batter what you put in the oven and it comes up and rises. You'd have to see one and taste one if ever you're over here. Believe you me, once you taste it,
Gotcha.
you'll want more. But your
Yeah.
point going back to your mac and cheese, there's people here that would put mac and cheese inside a Yorkshire pudding. So
Oh, geez, that's crazy. I mean, like I love
actually not
kind of like
that
the
crazy.
basic stuff. Like I love like cheeseburgers and stuff like that. I love it like Italian food, Mexican food. I love all of it. but
Mhm.
barbecue is my favorite. Like kind of like Southern barbecue. Well, I say Southern, but like
Oh,
in the
yeah.
United States, Southern like
Mhm.
Texas, Tennessee,
Yeah,
Memphis style
yeah, yeah,
barbecue. I don't
yeah.
know how big that is over there in the
Oh,
UK.
barbecues are big over here as well. Yeah, yeah. I think
Yeah,
the
a lot
idea
of
come
that
from
stuff.
you guys, but there
Yeah,
you go. So
you know.
so well, I'll we'll cut out there then because time is moving on. And thank you very much for the interview, Gavin. And I wish you all the success for the future. And please, please send me your any future recordings, and I will most certainly get it played on Catman's Rocks for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Absolute pleasure. Anytime. You'll take
Thanks.
good care.
You too.